dances when the song comes on. Sorry, it's when you're dancing.
Barb just stepped all over me. Welcome to Off the Shelf with Renee and Barb and our bestie Donna, who, we're here just every time we come and join together, we just dissect some of the year's most popular books. I'm Renee Ryan. I'm one of your hosts. I'm award-winning, best-selling author of over 30 books. My latest historical fiction, and my big old head is in the way, is, can we get the right finger? Aha! The Widows of Champagne is backwards. And happy winter solstice, as my husband says. As of tomorrow, the days start getting longer.
That's
he
right.
is already celebrating. And I said, honey, they only get longer by 1 minute a day. So we won't really notice anything until March, but he doesn't care. He's excited. So happy shortest day of the year, longest night of the year. And Barb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Renee's cohort, Barb Wallace. I am the best-selling author of romance and mystery novels, and I've made the pivot to historical fiction. And hopefully we'll have news for you about that in 2022. And just to let you know, Renee, we have a chart of the sunrise and sunset times in our house. Okay. So I can tell you exactly how many seconds longer each day is, because
my husband would love that. I need to find that for a Christmas present.
I'll send you it. There we go. I'll send you the copy.
Awesome.
All right. And I'm Donna, and I'm also making the pivot into historical fiction this year after writing a cajillion romance novels. And
8,724, I think.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So the one funny thing about, y'all in your time, long days, long nights, short days, in true pantser fashion, which is how I write, we don't have any charts. We just go, oh, perspective. The days are getting longer, and then we like it.
I can send you a chart if you want it.
Yeah, well, no, because charts make me anxious.
Sorry, everyone's gonna have the chart.
Charts just to give me anxiety. I have a question before, because I know we're going to do kind of an opening chat kind of thing. So when I was thinking about this morning, because I always try to prep a little bit for the chat, because I don't do this as often as you guys. I was thinking about Christmas Eve because my kids are coming home. Neither one of them made it home last year. So it should be interesting because they're bringing their significant others with them. But we have a number of Christmas Eve traditions. More so than we do Christmas Day. Christmas Day is presents, big breakfast, and a heckin' big turkey at supper time. But Christmas Eve, we do a whole bunch of different things. So we put the presents under the tree at the same time. We generally go out and drive around and look at the lights, although we won't be doing that this year because we don't have a vehicle with enough room in it. We watch a Christmas movie with spiked hot chocolate now that the kids are adults. And we have a steak barbecue. And so it doesn't matter if it's -40 and storming, we still have a barbecue, or grill them. I guess grill them because barbecue means something different depending on where you live in the US. So those are our traditions. So my question is, what do you guys do on Christmas Eve? Do you have traditions?
Barb, I'll let you start.
No.
Short answer.
No. Well, you know what? We've done a zillion different things. The only honest to God tradition that happens on Christmas Eve is we go to 8:00 mass.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's the tradition. Actually this year we're throwing everything out the window because we're going to my son's, he's hosting Christmas. So we're leaving Christmas morning and driving to Vermont. So Christmas Eve, we're going to my mother-in-law's and we're having Chinese food. My sister-in-law is taking us to a Chinese restaurant and she's ordering and taking care of the Chinese feast. It's kind of a deal because we're there. Apparently my mother-in-law is serving pot roast for Christmas dinner. We won't be there. But if she has to eat American food for Christmas, she wants to eat Chinese food for Christmas Eve, which is fair because she hates American food. I should explain, my sister-in-law is from Beijing. She hates American food. She really would prefer to eat Chinese food every day because that's what she cooks. So we're going to Chinese food. And we're going out to eat and throwing the whole thing off. But otherwise, no, the only tradition we have is Mass. That's the important for us.
I used to do that when I was a kid. We always went to, I think it was usually around 6:37. We always had church service, and then we used to go back to my brother's, and the whole family would like potluck it and just do a thing for a couple of hours. But that changed by the time I was like 21 because everyone started getting more spread out. So
yeah,
we used to do the early one because I used to be the director for the children's choir, and so we would do the early one so so that I could direct the children's choir. But there is no more children's choir. I stopped doing it when Andrew aged out of it, and I could no longer force him to participate. And then it's actually because of COVID, there's no children's choir anymore.
Well, you're growing up your kids are growing up when they host Christmas. So that's kind of cool.
Well, I'm making part of it, and then he's making everything else. So
nice.
Yeah, he's in charge. It's really kind of fun.
And Renee, you get something else coming up at Christmas.
It's funny you asked that question. We don't have traditions, but it's not because we don't want to have them. It's because we were a blended family. So we had full custody of my son through my husband's son, my son, and then we had full custody of my daughter, my husband. In other words, and so every other Christmas they went to the other parent, and we were fortunate that the other parents lived in the same city, so we would put them on the plane together. They would arrive, come home together. So we only had Christmas with the family every other Christmas. So the one thing that when we always did, my husband and I, no matter when we had Christmas, so sometimes we'd have Christmas in January, sometimes early December with the kids. So we never really had a lot of traditions other than we always watched Christmas Vacation, and we all know every word. And so it is basically, it's one of those sing-along round robins. And so my brother-in-law comes dressed as Cousin Eddie with the dicky and the white sweater and the white shoes. And so when we are together, that I would say is our number one tradition is that is the Christmas Vacation. So that probably gives you a crazy insight into the irreverence of my family and why we think that's a good thing. We also always go to church wherever my husband's job has moved us around. So we go to church whenever our church that we are attending has Christmas service. Sometimes it's Christmas Eve, sometimes it's Christmas Day. Every year it changes. So again, no specific traditions other than those two things. We try and go to church, and then we we do watch the Christmas Vacation. So I love this time of year, even though, actually I just want our viewers to take a look at the Christmas trees. Look at the Christmas trees. We've got the Papa Bear, the Mama Bear, and the Baby Bear.
Yours is one of those ceramic ones, right?
Yeah,
that's a classic.
It's the Goldilocks of Christmas trees. And so that's actually, I find super funny. But at least we all have Christmas trees. Mine is the easiest, I'm pretty sure.
We actually the Christmas tree is actually in my office because that's where it fits best. And so we just open the pocket doors and and someone's going to be sleeping in my office this Christmas too, because we have extra people coming. So the futon's getting flipped out, and I don't know, it's gonna be lit.
So that's gonna put Santa in a bind when he comes to he's gonna have to crawl over whoever it is that's sleeping in there. That's gonna be Santa.
So my other question is, what's everybody drinking?
Ginger ale.
Diet Pepsi.
You guys, you need to up your game. I know you have an appointment.
I have a doctor's appointment. One cannot show up having a drink.
So what are you drinking, Donna?
What are you drinking?
Notice in my Lindt chocolate mug, you probably can't tell, but it's got there we go.
Okay.
Inside is Ghirardelli Hot Chocolate, which for those who don't know, Ghirardelli is owned by Lindt. I used to work at Lindt, so you guys know that, but for people watching, I used to work at Lindt. And then inside that is a smidgen of Coldstream Clear candy cane vodka.
Now, we should point out for those who are listening that there is such a thing called a Canadian pour. What a smidgen for Americans is not quite the same as it is for a Canadian.
Yeah,
Canadians tend to double whatever the amount is. So a smidgen means, a couple shots, probably.
Actually, no, it really is a smidgen because that was all that was left.
Oh, So not for want of trying. Yep.
But the Canadian pour, it really, like, if you go out to dinner and you order a glass of wine, it's usually, do you want a 5-ounce glass or like an 8 or a 9-ounce glass? That just doesn't happen in my house, because a Canadian pour takes you to within this far of the rim. Doesn't matter how big your glass is. It has to be within this close to the rim. So that's a Canadian pour.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a thimble. After my stroke, I could still drink wine, but I could only have a thimble full. So
that's just sad.
I said, not worth it. Not worth it. So anyway, well, obviously we all love this time of season. It's a wonderful time of season. It's a wonderful time of year. We love the season. I love the food. I love the cocktails. I could be persuaded to drink a peppermint schnapps mocha coffee, even though I'm not a big coffee drinker. I love my Bailey's Irish cream. I love my hot toddies. So we're going to Taos. My husband and I are going to Taos, New Mexico for Christmas, and we will be sitting by the fire having all kinds of cocktails in the New Mexico mountains. So I cannot wait. So it's just the two of us. It's been a year, so we're ready. We're both vaccinated and boosted, so we're ready to take on the world. So we're so excited. And
cool.
So, at Off the Shelf, we try to talk about the books that are getting buzzed through the year. It's been a fascinating year, a lot of transition in all of our personal lives in 2021 in our country. It's been an interesting, dark winter, but also lots of good things. We're really looking forward to 2022. We've got some exciting new changes coming here at Off the Shelf. Cannot wait. But we will still be highlighting books, and books. We are a book reviewing group. We love books. We come at it from an author's point of view. We try to bring in a little bit of bookseller's point of view, and always a little bit of a book influencer, which is a reader point of view. We're going to continue that through 2022. We are still going to focus on historical fiction, and we're going to focus on women's fiction. We are not going to get too much into genre fiction unless it's heavier on your mainstream storylines. And if you've been listening to any of our broadcasts, I think you get an idea of what sort of books we're looking at, and later tonight today we're going to talk about what we're going to be covering next year. And and Barb, we all cut our teeth on writing romance.
Yes, we did.
All of us. And Donna still does write romance. Barb and Renee have kind of sort of taken a large sidestep away. And so Christmas holidays are huge in the romance industry. And as a matter of fact, my last romance is out right now, and it's a Christmas book called Opening His Holiday Heart. It's super cheesy, super cute. Well, I think it's cute. It's got like a big old, instead of elf on the shelf, the hero and heroine pass around a 7-foot Santa who keeps showing up in places that they don't expect.
So 7 foot?
7-foot plastic Santa. He shows up as a wise man. He shows up in line at the coffee shop. He ends up in the torchlight parade. He's pretty ornery for a plastic Santa. So anyway, Barb, let's talk about Christmas stories and books, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, I love Christmas romances. For a long time, I had a running thing with Harlequin that I wrote a book every December, and I did a Christmas romance for maybe 5 or 6 years. You could guarantee that was in my contract that's the book I was going to put out, was a Christmas romance. And they still are out there. I've noticed, interestingly, that the newer authors, we were talking about this the other day, if you notice that there's a clear divide in the romance genre these days, where there's the rom-coms, and that's where you get your younger authors, your newer authors. It's much more buzzy than the old standbys that are, your Robin Carrs. I looked at the shelf today and I was like, I know every single one of those names. They're all people that we've known for years. I don't know a lot of the names on the other side. They're all newer authors. Mm-hmm. The Christmas stories seem to be also on that tried and true side. Now, that could be because most of the new authors have gone indie, so their Christmas titles are ebooks. Mm-hmm. One thing I'd noticed was there are no historical fiction Christmas stories, which was interesting to me in that, you do get some for women's fiction. I mean, there are some, Elin Hillenbrand is one that she did a whole series. Karen White does one. She's had a few out, but there's no real historical fiction ones. And I was wondering as to theories why. I mean, I had a theory about it being like, well, because you're all focusing on wars or whatnot, but even those you could turn into a Christmas story. So I'm curious why you think there's no Christmas stories in historical fiction. And is it just not something that people have hit yet, or because romance is so used to hitting seasonal books versus historical fiction, which looks at a longer tail? I'm open to theories, and if people who are listening want to type in theories, that's
yeah. I think I wrote a few things down. I think I agree with you that like a lot of times, you're focused on wars or whatever the time period is. And I don't know if it's necessarily the fact that it's a war, but that the focus of the story is not on Christmas. It's on whatever historical event or time period that you're in. So I've noticed that there are some books, like if you look at Band of Sisters by Lauren Willig, there is Christmas in it because Christmas happens during the scope of the story, but it's not the focus of the story. And I think that's far more common. Whereas when you have a romance, yes, the romance is the spine of the book, but Christmas is its own entity. Like it's right there intrinsically tied together. Whereas unless this historical event happened,
well, I guess that's historical events that happened at Christmas. I mean, starting right off with World War I, there was the truce in 1914.
Right.
And I'm sure there were events. I mean, unfortunately, my big thing was I was going to Google things that happened in World War II at Christmas, just because I wanted to be up on it. But I've had a really
well, I did a quick search on Amazon to see like if I could, like maybe I just wasn't seeing them, and there's not a lot. But I found what I tended to find was that the Christmas stories that are historical fiction that are out there tend to be very family or friend drama centered, and not necessarily something that's more plot focused, like external plot focused. So one of the ones I found was Christmas with the Cornish Girls. And if you look at the cover, it's 3 young women, arms linked together, Christmassy background. So you know that it's set during World War II. So you know that it's something to do though with these 3 women in Cornwall during Christmas and what Christmas is like during the war. And I think there's a few like that, but I think the focus is on like friends and family. Who else has one out? The Last Christmas in Paris, which is Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb, which are some bigger names, like familiar names in the genre.
Yes,
so,
I actually they write as a team a lot. I actually have they have a new one out that I just bought.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a few out there, but I think most historical fiction writers tend to focus on something perhaps a little more gritty and less sentimental than Christmas, maybe.
I would also, and I would argue too that a historical fiction and a women's fiction, they're more sweeping timelines. So a Christmas story is very subject to time.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to have these huge, like Once Upon a Wardrobe is the first one that I saw that had a really huge arc and a huge timeline during the holiday season, and he managed it, but everything was super, super highlighted and super sort of, I would even say fast forwarded because of George's illness.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of made everything, there was a sense of urgency there. But I think in a when I was just thinking about that, is that, the Christmas time is such a small pocket of time. There's a window. And I think in a romance or even a mystery where someone is, like a cozy or a mystery, you can work within that time frame, especially if you're doing like a reunion romance or a friends to lovers romance, or some of those really tropes that really fit, those romance stories can be done in a couple of, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I think that's the time constraints, probably part of it. But, the actual Christmas story is pretty daggum dark because, the whole point of it is, when Herod found out that the king of the Jews had just been born, he killed he went out and in the entire kingdom had every child killed from
That's
2
true.
years and younger because of the threat. And, you know, I don't see that Christmas doesn't focus on that. Like Christmas is all about family and we're giving you presents and we've kind of merged Saturnalia, you know, like all these, hate to say it, but all these pagan sort of, you know, the pagan rituals that have been merged into Christmas. You know, it's even historically not accurate that Jesus wasn't born on the 25th of December. He's born, you know, there's all kinds of different, but we all know that he wasn't born in December. So it's kind of like the Christian church married all of the different pagan traditions and turned it into Christmas. And so, you know, we've even kind of lost the darkness of the actual true Christmas story. And so I think that's part of it. So really for me, I was thinking if I would add, I don't know if I could write a Christmas historical fiction because of the time constraints.
See, I think I could. I think that it doesn't have to take place in the whole period of Christmas. I mean, like, it doesn't have to take place in December. I mean, romances, yes. But I think that there are things that happened at Christmas time that can be the climax of a story.
Well, yeah, and I think with romance,
and it can be the whole concept of the Christmas season can be core to that story. I think that if you had the right thing, I think you could pull it off. I think that for me, I think one of the things is right now the trend is historical biographies and spies and
war,
Holocaust stories. I mean, I think there's a lot of that. And I think that none of those certainly, I mean, you certainly can't do a biography and focus on Christmas because you have to do the whole person's life. You certainly can't, you know, I think that the espionage, what's currently in vogue is not necessarily lends itself to it, but I think it could be done. I think that there are some things, there are Christmas historical things that happened at Christmas time that could make a really good historical.
Yeah, Patty Callahan showed us that it could be done. And I think a lot of the romances, we're acting like all the romances, and Barb, you're going to talk about this in a minute. We act like all the romances are happy-go-lucky rom-coms, but a good solid romance can also just be super angsty because the point of a romance is the main character, whether it be the hero or the heroine, has to have a huge lesson, a huge character arc. And then once they've learned that hard lesson, then they are worthy of earning that love. And, you know, that's that really great relationship. You know, romances are relationship stories. And so I think what's happened is we've had Hallmark, let's talk about that, you know, Hallmark and Netflix and Lifetime have turned it into this whole rom-com, romantic comedy, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours with commercials, Christmas story that's taken that arc out. But if you get Christmas romance books, I could then argue, I could see what you're saying. You could then argue that you could do a women's fiction or historical fiction within that time period.
I've written very angsty Christmas stories. Just to give myself a plug there, but I have. I mean, I did one where the one where the prince was falling in love with his assistant. And he was obligated to marry someone else. It's a very angsty story where he's torn between duty and love for most of the book.
Well, and let's talk about a really dark Christmas story is A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Right?
The ultimate dark Christmas story.
Yes.
Or someone did it and they said we could write it the abridged version, which was Scrooge. I'm horrible and I hate people. Ghosts. Ooh, you'll die and go. No one will love you. I'm good now. That's like basically.
So Donna, let's hand it over to you and let's talk A Christmas Carol because we know it's your favorite book.
No, it's not. Okay, so this is where it's confession time, and the fact that I haven't read the book, and there's a reason why I haven't read the book, and it's because I can't stand Dickens.
That's blasphemy in our house.
I'm sorry. When it was required reading in university, thankfully, all my profs would give you a choice of 3 essay questions to do on your exam. And I always picked the one that wasn't Dickens because I couldn't get through the book. Any of them. I have never finished a Dickens book, any of them.
Okay.
So
I'm married to a man who's read every single one.
So why is it? What is it about Dickens' stories? Because they do all have sort of a similar theme.
right. Okay. So as far as the books go, I just find them so wordy and dreary. And so it's a style thing with me. It
was a dreary time period.
Yeah.
And
So
it was Industrial Revolution, poverty, caste system. Yeah.
And he was very, very focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do like just find him very wordy, like just wordy.
By the word.
Have you noticed? I think he's wordy. But when it comes to the movies, and I've seen several, but I think it's because when it comes to a Christmas movie, and I know we're going to talk about Hallmark movies in a little bit, and I'm not a huge Hallmark movie fan either. But I enjoy some, but it's like pepper, where I like it to season my Christmas viewing, but too much of it and it just doesn't taste right. But I find A Christmas Carol in particular really dark, and I know that's the point. And you're gonna laugh when I say this, but in all the Christmas Carol movies I've watched, there is not one attractive person. So I don't find anybody attractive.
You didn't see the Diana Ross, or no, was it not Diana Ross? It was, I'll come up with it, but she was beautiful. Former Miss America. Who am
Vanessa,
I? Yes, Vanessa Williams played Scrooge.
Okay, well that's definitely not a version I've seen.
No,
okay,
it's not. She's not Bill Murray.
So you'll laugh when I say there are two versions of the Christmas Carol that I can handle. And one is the Muppets.
All time, no one can hate the Muppets.
And the other one is Mickey's Christmas Carol, because I got the DVD when the kids were really little. And there's the Ghost of Christmas Present, I think, is a huge giant. And he always says, like, there's something that he's going to eat, and it's pistachio with yogurt. Anyway, I love it, and I laugh at it all the time, and we still say it in our family. So I'm okay with that because it's not dark. But I do find it like I don't find it heartwarming or uplifting. And maybe it is like in the last 10 minutes when he has this great epiphany, but the rest of it I find it just doesn't work for me. So I'm really sorry, but I will let you all just love on it all you want. So who wants to go next, Barb?
I read the book and I did enjoy it. And you asked about traditions. That is a tradition. It's not a Christmas Eve tradition, but every year we watch the Christmas Carol. But the only version we will watch is the 1954 version with Alistair Sims. It's the British version. I'm coping with the situation. And that's all have Cockney
accents.
That's
a classic. I mean, it's well done.
It's considered really well the best. I looked it up last night. They said it's number 1 on all the ones done.
The Guy Pearce version is dark. It is angsty. It's dark. I loved it. The Guy Pearce version, because Guy Pearce plays Scrooge, I think. So well done. That's my favorite. And that's only been out like since 2017, maybe 2018.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. We only watched this one. We when I was little, I remember watching the Mr. Magoo version. And you laugh. It was the scariest one I've ever seen. The Ghost of Christmas Future is so scary in it that I still remember being terrified as a kid.
I love Mr. Magoo.
Well, Mr. Magoo couldn't see him, so that's okay.
Right. But if you watch it, the Alistair Sim ones, and we do watch it every single year. We make a big bowl of popcorn, and Peter and I watch it every year. I can't say our son does. He thinks it's painful, but we do it.
So what do you like about the book?
You know what? I have to say I wasn't thrilled with the book myself. It's very short. Mm-hmm. I think, though, it did do a really nice job of what?
Is it blessedly short? Yes.
But he does do a nice job of kind of showing Scrooge's past much more and his heart that a lot of the movies skip over. how his heart hardens for greed. And he did do a better job of kind of showing the different parts of that in Fezziwig. And there's one thing that Dickens does well are those kind of crazy characters that are a little bit, he does odd secondary characters are what makes Dickens books. And Fezziwig is so well drawn and so,
Yeah, and I think that the book came out. It actually came out. I want to say it came out this week, whenever it did, back in the 1800s, and it changed how most people thought of Christmas charity, and because so it. The reason that I love the story is, one, it's if you study the structure, the hero journey structure, it's a perfect book to fit into the hero's journey. And so I feel like that part of it is as a study, as a student of story, I find that it's very well written in terms of there is a true character arc for him. And he truly does go from a greedy, horrible person, and then his heart does change. He's truly the first Grinch. And so I like just that part of the story. And then segueing into, I loved the book or the movie, The Man Who Invented Christmas.
I love that movie.
And it's about it's Dan Stevens. Hello, Donna. Do we want to just take a moment? A moment.
You said there were no attractive people.
Here's my thing about The Man Who Invented Christmas. I am meh about the movie, but I am 100% on board with Dan Stevens.
There we go.
Well, my husband we went to the theater and watched it when it came out. And my husband looked at me when it was over and he said, I finally understand how your mind works, because they really get into the mind of a writer. Because for those of you watching that have not seen that particular movie, The Man Who Invented Christmas, it's about Charles Dickens during the Christmas season. And he wrote, and it's during him writing the book. And he was the first to self-publish the book because the publisher wouldn't give him the money. But just how he struggled getting the story to work, how he struggled bringing the characters, how he grabbed them from his own personal life and reached all the way back into childhood. And I think that you get a good sense of what it means to put yourself onto a page. And I think that if anyone ever wants to know where the story comes from, how, where do your ideas come from, I always point them to The Man Who Invented Christmas, just so that you can get into the head of an author. And there's crazy in there. So, be prepared. But
I thought he did a great job also of kind of capturing the whole rivalry and petty jealousy between writers. Like there's a scene where he meets Thackeray. He was like, oh, that's right. Your book didn't sell as well as mine. Like it was. And I was like, oh, that is exactly how writers are. They sometimes like, oh, right. Well, I'm sure it was good. It's just, I'm sorry I didn't get a readership. That kind of. The little condescending thing that he did. And then I laughed because I'm like, oh yeah, Thackeray's not.
Well, and that is true. The professional jealousy, I think, is definitely, and especially, to big name authors. I don't think that I've ever had a career where somebody would be jealous of my career, but I could see.
Yeah, no, I don't see him. No one's coming over.
Never happened. But, as one person said, Renee, you have the best and the worst luck in publishing. And I was like, yes, I do. I get some great things, and then I get some pretty bad things.
I think that's pretty average, though.
I think we're right in the middle of the bell curve there.
Yeah, I think unless you're, Nora or John Grisham, you're going to have, I think every author can say, I've had really great things happen and really horrible things happen. That's just the part of the author. So let's talk Christmas movies. So we're going to have a lightning round here real quick. So I am going to throw out a story or a movie, and you need to say love it or hate it. And you don't get to be medium about it. I know Barb and I, we kind of cheated last time when we did this, because sometimes we want to say hate it with reservation or love it with reservation, and that's not what this is about.
Okay.
So you may defend, but you got to say love it or hate it.
Okay, but no one told me that I couldn't be middle of the road.
Oh,
you can't be middle of the road, Donna.
I'm Canadian. This is going to be such a challenge.
No fence riding, girlfriend. You're going to have to choose a side.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Love Actually.
Love it.
Love it. All right.
Do we want to defend like why we love it?
Sure.
Or we just want to say Hugh Grant and Liam Neeson and that incredible storyline with Alan Rickman.
Oh, and Colin Firth.
Colin Firth.
That storyline is my favorite.
Emma Thompson.
I loved her. That's actually, I think, my favorite storyline. It's not the happy storyline, but she is so amazing in it.
Strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love Natalie.
Yeah, I do
the
love
one with
Natalie.
the big thighs. Who she's not. My husband and I, every time we watch that movie, we go, "She is not fat. Why do they keep telling her that she's fat?" I hate that about her. And
Where the blip is my blipping coat? I know, right?
And I love how Hugh Grant goes when they said, "Oh, she said, the one with the thunder thigh, or fat now, whatever they called her," and he goes, "Do we call her that? Do we call her that?" Okay, so The Holiday.
Love it.
Love it.
Loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it that one. I loved it.
All right. I don't know if you've seen this one, The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah.
Love it.
Never saw it.
Love it.
Barb, you need to watch it just for the food and the butter alone.
Oh, and Queen Latifah.
I will give the plug at that. I think Queen Latifah's awesome.
And
also,
Cool J.
Can I pop back to The Holiday for a moment?
Yes.
Because I actually was talking to one of my kids about this movie today, because there are parts I'm like, no. But here's the thing. There is a scene with Jude Law where Cameron Diaz gets up in the morning and she can't remember the night before. And she's like, "Did we?" And he's like, "We did not." And she said, "We didn't." And he says, "No, call me old-fashioned, but one doesn't have sex with someone who's unconscious." And I'm like, consent. Like, and actually really, really love that part of the movie. So anyway, that's what I love. I like The Holiday a lot. And also Jack Black, total dark horse as a romantic hero, but I love him so much.
His best role. And then, of course, Eli Wallace is.
I like him.
Yeah.
Loved him. The Neighbor. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. While You Were Sleeping.
Hate it.
I only saw it once. I liked it. Can't say I love it. It's not something I like.
Nope, that's fence riding. You have to love it or hate it.
All right, then I loved it because I like Bill Pullman. Okay?
If I have to, you have to.
And I love Bill because I love Bill Pullman.
Okay. I loved it. I thought that it was one of Sandra Bullock's more charming roles. I think that she can get a little cloying, and I thought she was very charming in that. And I loved Frank Jr., the guy, the neighbor. I thought it was super cute. Okay. Well, okay. You already know I love it. Christmas Vacation.
Love it.
Never saw it.
Oh.
This is where Barbara deals. She only watches Christmas movies that were made prior to 1960.
Okay, so. No, that has to change because it's still a classic. It's been long enough now, Barb.
It's been long enough. It came out in the 80s. It's
like 40 years old. It's old enough.
Okay.
But why is the carpet wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
Okay.
It's so funny. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this one, The Family Man, with Nicolas Cage and going blank.
Kevin Costner?
Téa Leone, and no, I never saw it.
Téa Leone.
Oh, okay.
Not that I know who's in it, but I've never seen it.
Okay, so we can't talk about that one. All right. The Grinch.
Which one?
Okay, let's talk about, the original, the cartoon.
Animated, love it.
Yeah, love it. Okay, love Jim Carrey.
Hated it.
Hate it. What about the Benedict Cumberbatch?
Hate it.
Never saw it.
It's the most recent one.
Never saw it.
Animated only for me.
Okay.
Boris Karloff, all the way.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Charlie Brown Christmas.
Loved it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh.
Fun story about this. He wrote it and they were not happy with the version that came out. Because it was religious.
Yeah.
And they did it expecting it to be a one-off.
Oh, now it's so classic. Oh yeah. Okay. Trading Places. We talked about this one.
Loved it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. I loved it, but there is no way it would be made today.
The scene where Eddie Murphy's playing the guy begging with no
He plays his Vietnam. It opens with Eddie Murphy is the star and Dan Aykroyd. And then and he plays this like Vietnam vet that has no legs. And I mean, he's a con man. It's It's really
He's very good at it. Let's just say.
yeah, and it's got the two old guys that were like really big actors back in the 30s and 40s. Don Amici, and I can't remember the other guy. So
but they were good.
I think it's classic. I love it too. Okay, It's a Wonderful Life.
Love it.
Love it. Uh-oh.
That's fine.
I like it.
You know what? I didn't watch it for the first time until
I loved it. And now I think it's so overplayed and so kind of overrated that I turned off again. It's turned me off against it.
Yeah, see,
I loved it the first time I saw it. I think by like the 36th time people told me I have to love it, I stopped loving it.
Yeah, I get that. But see, I'm such a latecomer to it. I didn't watch it for the first time until like 3 years ago.
Oh.
My husband was like that. My husband's like, oh, I hate it. I hate it. I was like, you've never seen it. And then he liked it. Yeah. But he won't watch it again. It was like a one-off for him.
No, I'll watch it every year, but only once. You know what I mean? Like there's somewhere I'm like, ooh, I'll watch Love Actually any time of the year.
Yeah.
But It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, okay, I've watched it. Now we're done.
Yep. That's how I feel about it too. Yeah. Okay. White Christmas with Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye.
Loved it.
Loved it too. Even though it's the worst plot device, which is the misunderstanding. And my husband, every time we watch it, why doesn't he just tell her it's a misunderstanding? And I'm just like, because it's White Christmas, just go with it.
Okay, but are we going to talk about Holiday Inn? Because y'all know I watched that the other night.
Okay, so Holiday Inn was next.
That's Hate It, because it takes that misunderstanding that you don't like in White Christmas on steroids, and I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind the fact that there's a blackface scene. So I'm out with Holiday Inn.
Oh yeah, no, it's and characters and love triangle. I never made it through. I've tried 3 times and finally I said 3 times a charm. I'm done.
You know what? There's misunderstanding and then there's manipulating, and I found it really, really manipulating rather than just a misunderstanding where people just.
I'm such a Fred Astaire movie, and he's such a jerk in it, and I was like,
yeah.
You want to like him because you think, ooh, he's so cute. Fred Astaire. And then it's like,
he dances like nobody's business. He's beautiful to watch. Why do we have to make him a jerk? Let's just love him. Right.
All right. This one's a little controversial in my house, at least. Elf.
Love it.
Love it.
The best way to spray Christmas cheers, singing loud for all to hear.
Oh, you're an angry elf.
It's the only, because I cannot stand that actor. It is the only movie of his I like, because he's such a doofus. But it's like the perfect role for him.
I love the elf. What's your favorite color? I love it.
It's classic. Okay. All right. Is this a Christmas movie or is it?
Oh, God.
Die Hard.
What one?
Die Hard.
Oh, love it.
I love it too.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a Christmas movie or not?
Well, it's set at Christmas.
You say it's Christmas, kind of.
It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I call it a Christmas movie. I love it.
A Christmas movie.
It's not schmaltzy, but it's a Christmas movie.
Home Alone.
Hated it.
I hated it too. You love it?
Kinda. Okay. I used to love it, and now I'm over it.
Okay, another one of those.
I will say, however, that Kevin Hart and Catherine O'Hara have a commercial where she.
I saw that.
Where she loses Kevin in the department store,
and it's Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, but she's like Kevin. He's like, what is it with you and Kevin?
It's hysterical.
So that I love,
gotcha.
But I hated Home Alone and Home Alone.
Okay, I have 2 more. Miracle on 34th Street.
Which version?
Okay, the one with Natalie Wood, the original.
Love it.
Okay.
Also love the other version. I was just playing with you.
Saw the original one. I wouldn't even watch it because I love the original so much.
You haven't watched it at all?
The one with Maura, is it Maura Wilson or Maura?
Yeah.
No, because I love the original too much.
Okay, but you know what?
What?
You know what though? It's really quite lovely.
I'm sure it is, but it is not the original.
No, I know, but I think you should give it a chance.
Was it made after 1960?
You need to unclench a little.
I know it. Agreed. Okay, last one. And then last one.
She hasn't even, there's like 2 or 3 she hasn't even touched that we watch all the time. But anyway.
Renee's trying to skate over that. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
A Christmas Story.
Hate it.
Loved it.
I loved it the first time. hate it now. I cannot sit through it anymore.
I can.
It's funny. It's good. Okay, so Barb, you and your before 1960, what's your favorite Christmas movie then?
Okay, I love Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it's with Janet Leigh and Robert Mitchum, and she's working at a department store, and Robert Mitchum is this kind of drifter guy that she meets and she brings home for Christmas, or brings home for some reason, I forgot why, but she's got she's engaged to a very proper man and going to do a very proper life. She's a war widow, and Robert Mitchum's a drifter and dreamer and going to go out west and open up I think he's opening up a marina, and she's going to like, no, I'm going to live this proper life. And at the end, she realizes that true happiness is with Robert Mitchum, and she goes running on New Year's Eve and gets on the train, and they go sailing off, she and her son and Robert Mitchum.
No idea. I haven't seen that one.
It's adorable, and I love it.
Okay.
And the other one is We're No Angels with Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, with the little kids?
No.
Is that with James Cagney? Is James Cagney?
No, it might be that. I thought We're No Angels is the one where the three guys who escape from Alcatraz, and they're on an island, and they end up helping this family on Christmas. Like, they rearrange their lives. Like, the girl's supposed to marry this stuck-up asshole to save the business, and somehow they manage to get him killed by a snake bite, and her in love with this really handsome detective, and like they rearrange everyone's lives. And then they go back to Alcatraz because they realize they're going to finish out. They become better people. And it's like the entire time they escaped.
Do you notice the eyes are glazing over?
It's awesome. It is the cutest movie.
All
right. We're going into our second lightning round with Donna is going to run this one with Christmas carols.
Okay, so hold on though. Christmas movie we didn't talk about that. There's 3.
Okay.
Is it a Christmas movie or not? And Affair to Remember?
No,
but I love it.
I don't.
It is for me because it starts with they're going to meet on New Year's Eve, and then it finishes at Christmas.
Okay.
When he goes to her place at Christmas.
I love
for me, and I watch it. Okay.
I don't like the movie.
Number 2, The Bells of St. Mary's.
Loved it. Yes, that is a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Loved it.
Also love it.
Prior to 1960. Just watch this.
Right. Ingrid Bergman, you're fine. Number 3, where was I going? Oh, Sound of Music. Christmas movie or not?
What was
Which
it?
one?
The Sound of Music.
Oh.
Christmas movie or not? And y'all are going to say not.
I'm going to say, I'm trying to remember if they play it on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day here, because whatever day they play it on is the day I associate with it.
Right.
But I don't associate it as a Christmas movie.
I would say it's not a Christmas movie because they technically they have it in wintertime when they're escaping and they go over the mountain, but that particular festival is always in August. So
the reason why it's a Christmas movie to me is because growing up, we didn't have cable. Like, because I lived in a rural area, we had 2 channels, and CBC every Christmas played The Sound of Music, and it was a 3-hour deal, so it was a big deal. And if you didn't sit and watch it on TV, then you missed it. So it was really a Christmas tradition. You always looked for when The Sound of Music was going to be on.
I'm trying to remember where they play it here. They played it.
Bearing in mind that this was actually even I'm going to date myself here, pre-VCR.
Yeah.
So, once VCR, and I wasn't that old when we bought a copy for a VCR, but I remember it when it was only on TV. Same with the Grinch and everything else. Anyway, those are my 3 like Christmas.
It was on last night here, so it's definitely considered Christmas time movie. Okay.
All right. So
Christmas carols.
Christmas carols. I did not do as big of a list as you did, Renee. Holy moly, that was a lot. Okay, so my lightning round is Christmas carols. And which is your favorite version? And if your favorite version is not one of the 2 that I have, then you get to tell me which one is your favorite version. Okay? Okay, so the first one is the Christmas song. Nat King Cole or Michael Bublé?
Nat King Cole.
Bublé.
All right. Is there a reason why? Oh, wait, Barb. Pre-1961, right?
Nat King Cole was the original, man. He had a velvet voice.
Okay, so that's my choice as well. But I do like the Bublé version.
Oh, I have nothing against Michael Bublé, but Nat King Cole has a voice.
All right. Santa Baby, Eartha Kitt, Madonna.
Okay, we know Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, I would agree.
Eartha Kitt was badass.
Madonna all the way for that song.
Oh,
Really?
no, Eartha Kitt was badass, baby.
I love her. I love the way she just rounds those vowels out. Like it's just so campy that I love it. All right. Barb will like this one because I have two vintage choices.
Ooh.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Perry Como or Johnny Mathis.
Ooh, that's
I know that's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm gonna go Perry Como. Only because I remember his TV specials as a kid. Yes, I'm dating myself.
I like Johnny Mathis better.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I like both.
I do too. I would agree. Totally agree.
Actually, there are no versions on this list that I don't like. There's just ones that I like better.
Yep.
Sleigh Ride, Andy Williams or the Ronettes?
Andy Williams.
Andy Williams.
Same.
Yep.
Okay, so this is probably a no-brainer, but White Christmas, Bing Crosby or Sinatra?
Crosby.
Yeah.
1,000 times.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? The Sinatra version is surprisingly good.
Oh, yeah.
And there are a lot of versions out there that are really well done, but I don't think you can ever. Oh, you know what one I didn't do? I'll do it at the end. Okay. Last Christmas, Wham or Taylor Swift?
I gotta go with Wham.
Oh, total Wham.
I'm going to go Swiftie.
I like Swiftie, but again, I'm gonna tell you, George Michael had a beautiful voice.
Oh, he was, yeah.
I know. You know what? I think it's because I've heard the Wham one so much that I actually really like Taylor Swift's because it's fresh, but it's still like
It's just
true
too
to the
chipmunky. She's too chipmunky for me.
So here's, I don't have a comparison because I just remembered it now. What's your favorite version of Jingle Bells?
Oh, Frank Sinatra does a really good one.
I was going to say Frank's.
Barbara Streisand does one that I don't like, and that's
Right.
I love Barbara Streisand, but she does.
Streisand plays with time signatures in it, so it doesn't fit the regular.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a Bing and the Andrews Sisters.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's my favorite one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, right. Because Jingle Bells, Jingle. Yeah. Anyway, it's fun. Okay, so for the bonus round, this is your answer only. What's your favorite religious carol and why?
Oh, I know.
Holy
Night. Okay. Oh, Holy Night.
Okay.
It's something I don't care who sings it unless they're off key. It tears me up. I mean, it just gives me chills every time. So it's got to be Oh Holy Night.
It's majestic.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
All right, I'm going to say I have a three-way tie because I sang Christmas choir, so I have a lot of songs. What Child Is This? Mary, Did You Know?
Oh.
And In the Bleak Midwinter.
You picked all songs in minor keys.
I know. I like minor
What
keys.
the heck?
I like
like a minor key, but
I like pentatonic. I like the Mary, Did You Know, the pentatonics version.
That's a beautiful version. Actually,
that
Kenny
is
Rogers
so
does
well
one with Winona, and it's very nice too.
Oh, I bet. Okay.
I did Mary, Did You Know one year, like by myself.
Wow.
So, hello. Oh, I have the Christmas light boy is here. Turning on the candles. Okay, so my favorite religious carol is Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which sounds weird. But the reason being is that I used to quite often play either organ or piano for Christmas, like during Advent at church. Mm-hmm. And playing the bass line in that carol is so fun because it moves around so much. And if you're playing the organ, then you also have the foot pedals, and it was just like a total hoot. So that's my favorite one because I really enjoy playing it. All right. What's your favorite overall Christmas song?
Ooh.
This Christmas.
Really?
I like the original version. Hold on. Let me see who sang it. I got to look it up.
Okay.
While y'all are talking, I'll look it up. But yeah, this Christmas.
I do like Baby It's Cold Outside. I'm probably the only one who knows the original movie it came from. But anyways, and who sang it originally. Anyways, there's a song at work and I'm obsessed with it, and it's called the Christmas Cha-Cha. And
Okay.
they play it on the soundtrack all the time, and it's my new favorite. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, Barb.
There you go.
You might have been working a little too much.
Very early.
Okay, so sorry, I just stepped on you. Donny Hathaway's "This Christmas" is my favorite for right now.
Okay.
I can listen to it anytime it comes on. I stop.
I gotta say, the first song that I did in the lightning round, the Christmas song by Nat King Cole, is probably my favorite ever. Okay, and one more question.
Okay.
What now, Barb? Your last answer would maybe fit into this. What is the dark horse kind of weirdest Christmas song that you really like?
Christmas Cha-Cha.
Right? I will tell you that mine is Dominic the Donkey.
I love that too. Oh, and Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Yeah, Jiggity Jig. It's Dominic the Donkey.
Okay. Oh man.
I've been listening
If viewers don't know what it is, just go look it up.
Okay. I don't like schmaltzy Christmas songs. I think that I don't know. I don't think I really have one. I'll have to, you know what? I'm on a mission to find one.
Okay. Report back in the comments after.
Wow.
All right. So we have, and we didn't really talk about Hallmark movies, but we are getting kind of late on time.
Yeah, we're getting long on time because we're going much longer. And I wanted to ask
you love it or hate it, Hallmark movies, and you say why.
Okay, very quickly. Do you want to go first, Barb?
Okay. Hate them.
Why?
They just never gelled with me. I mean, I don't know what it is. There's nothing wrong with them, and I could watch one, but it's like eating unflavored cereal to me. It's nothing. Again, I'll go back to the whole 1960 thing, but they just don't do it for me. And maybe because they're too formulaic.
I am also more of a Christmas classics girl. But I do like the occasional one. And actually, we were talking about Lifetime and Netflix. There's actually been a couple on Netflix that I've watched this year that I really liked. One I think came out last year, which is Holidate, which is not your typical, like, it's not like Hallmark because there's plenty of language in it. Mm-hmm. But I just found it so funny. I laughed out loud in several parts. And then the other one, which I turned a blind eye to, Authenticity. But because I like Brooke Shields and Carrie Elwes, I did watch a Castle for Christmas, and I thought it was super cute and I liked it. But it's one of those things where I watch 2 or 3 a year, and that's plenty for me. Like I don't sit and watch like one a night or anything like that. They're not my fave.
I would say I don't really love them. I don't hate them. So, but if it's love or hate, then I would have to go more toward hate. And I think it's Barb's reason. They're all the same. Like it's. I feel like I just
better. Vanilla. I mean, they definitely tried to diverse it up a little bit this year.
Yeah, I like that they're getting more diverse, and I think that is making them better. But it's more than that. It's the same old thing. And there's always the love triangle and the girlfriend. There's always I don't know. I just feel like they really are following a formula. And I could even tell you, oh, it's an hour and a half in. Now I know what's going to happen. And I just find that is, I can do that once maybe, but even this year I don't think I've watched a single one, except I did watch the Christmas one that you said, the Brooke Shields, because I love Carrie Elwes and I do love Brooke Shields. I thought the story was okay, but it was very Hallmarky. Yeah.
I will say that I know that's a criticism that we face a lot with category romance. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is, in having worked with someone who writes books specifically targeted toward to film, right? Hoping to get picked up by film, that in category romance, I have a ton more leeway with plots mm-hmm. and how things evolve. Than I would if I were trying to write to that market. So there is quite a difference. Mm-hmm. So,
agreed.
Okay, so now we should segue into Barb's section, which is
I'm going to bring it back to books because we started with books. I'm going to end with books, and we're wrapping up on time. But 2022 is a week away. We have great plans for both the Step Into the Story site and for Off the Shelf. We're still formulating them, but we're going to announce them soon, probably in January. But before we go, what is on your pre-order list for 2022? So we can give people an idea of things that they might want to pre-order for 2022 as well. Books that we're super psyched about. And I'll start with The Lost Book of Eleanor Dare. I'm all over that. I don't know if anyone knows the story about the Dare Stones and the lost city of Roanoke. Not Roanoke. What's the lost city in Virginia? There was a lost city. It was a very first settlement, and it disappeared by the time they got there.
Jamestown?
No, before.
No, I think it was Roanoke. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Okay.
And they found a stone written by a woman named Eleanor Dare, and they believed that that was actually authentic, where she was talking about everyone was dying and that there wasn't much, it didn't look like they had much longer.
Okay.
A woman has taken that book and turned it into a much bigger story about the Dare women and the legend of the Dare women and all that. And it sounds amazing. So I want to read The Lost Book of Eleanor Dare, and the Last Dance of the Debutante. Is that Julia Kelly's book, which is due out in a couple weeks? Yes, you guys got
it. It's fantastic. I've already read it.
Not, but those are two of my must reads. The Christie Affair, I have an advanced copy of, and I have an advanced.
By Barb?
I don't know who wrote. I can't remember who wrote it, but it is a very looked forward to book. It's the theory of another book about the theory of what happened when she disappeared. Only in this case, she's solving a mystery.
Okay.
So I think that sounds really, really. So those three are on my list.
Last Dance of the Debutante was fantastic because we got it in Canada already, which is lovely.
We're going to discuss it in January.
Yeah,
so
So
everyone get that book.
Yep, love it. I have The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn because she's an auto buy for me. So I'm looking forward to that. Another one I'm looking forward to is The Lost Summers of Newport, which is the new Team W book. So Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, and Karen White.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that's.
I have that on my list. Yep.
Yeah, so that's one. And then Bluebird by Genevieve Graham, who is actually local to me. And writes Canadian historical fiction, but has recently just really started to get a big following in the US too, which is great. She's really starting to make a bit of a splash, and the new cover is beautiful. And I think it's out in, April. Bluebird is my third. And of course, The Secret Society of Salzburg by our lovely Renee, because I haven't read this one in advance like I did with Widows. So I'm looking forward to that.
I can send you an advanced copy once it gets edited.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. You will.
Yeah. Yep. So those are probably the ones I'm most looking forward to in 2022 and are already on my pre-order.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we should add, we'll post the list of books so people have them, because we want you guys to read along with us so that when we talk about this.
We'll each post our own in one day before. Each of us will pick a day and we'll post ours so that and the release date and stuff like that.
So you can send your holiday gift cards. So anyways, Renee, what's on your list?
What's yours, Renee?
Well, I have a lot of the same. The Shop on Royal Street by Karen White, set in New Orleans. That's also on my list.
Ooh.
The Mayfair Bookshop by Eliza Knight. Madeline Martin's The Librarian Spy looks pretty good, and that comes out in July. And one of the top on my list is By Her Own Design, a novel of Anne Lowe, and that's by Piper Hughley.
That's on my list too.
And Anne Lowe was, she was a woman of color, but she was also the fashion designer who designed Jackie O's wedding dress.
Yeah.
For when she married Jack Kennedy. So I'm so excited about that one. And then The It Girl by Ruth Ware. She's kind of an auto buy for me, as is Kate Quinn. It looks really good. And of course, The Lost Summers of Newport by Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, and Karen White. So anything by those three, especially when they do it together. So excited. And, of course, The Secret Society of Salzburg by me. And then let me see, is there anything else that I didn't add? Everything else you guys talked about. So those are kind of my all the way through October. And I'm sure there will be more that will crop up.
Very cool.
Maybe every quarter we can do what we're looking forward to.
I think we should too.
Yeah.
And before we go, I know Renee's going to wrap it up, but the very first episode we did Island Girl by Vanessa Riley. And for those who haven't read the news, because I know she's been putting it out and stuff, they have sold the rights to Shondaland. So read the book, and then you'll be able to probably watch a very sexy, very entertaining miniseries when it comes out. Let's hope Regé is in it. He'd be good in it. Although I think most of her love interests were white, so I don't know. But it would be, although there's a part he could play. There is a part he could play.
Well, and Shonda can fix that. She's good at that.
He will fix it. But regardless, I think it'll be really good. It was my favorite read of 2021. I'm so happy for Vanessa Riley, who has been around for a long time and is a journeyman author who has done a huge breakout book and is reaping the benefits. And we're really excited for it. And we're very happy that we got introduced to the book, and we're thrilled that it's going to be such a huge deal.
Yep. Well, we just wanted to thank you for joining us today on our final broadcast of 2021. We're taking the holidays off. We're looking forward to an amazing 2022 between now and then. Next time you hear from us, we will be putting out what we're excited about in terms of books coming out. We have a lot of changes planned for our off-the-shelf broadcast for Step Into the Story. If you have any ideas for us, let us know. But we will definitely keep you posted. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're really looking forward to 2022, and we are so excited to see 2021 in the rearview mirror.
Yay!
I don't know. 2021's been pretty good to me.
All right.
So
let's everyone stay in good health, and
yes,
maybe 2022 we actually go back to even more semi-normal than we did this year.
Get your Omicron free.
Yes.
May it be. So, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.